Millennial Book Club. Millennial Book Club.
Moose blunt cashmere is unlike any cashmere you can find anywhere. I mean, most people get cashmere in, Arabia? But not moose blunt cashmere.
I thought it was a blunt made of cashmere.
Moose blunt cashmere?
Yeah.
Well, clearly you're uninformed.
What is it?
It's cashmere that comes from moose blunts.
What are blunts?
What are moose blunts?
Yeah.
It's a part of the moose it's only on male moose, right? It's not the dick, so don't be gross. But it's like not the scrotum, it's the taint, basically. It's the technical term for a moose taint, right?
Okay, so it's cashmere made of moose taint.
Well, it would be moose blunt.
So there's no blunt smoking.
Well, I mean, it's in Maine. It's legal. It's legal to smoke with marijuana.
To smoke moose taint?
I mean, if you really wanted to. I mean, you could smoke it in a smoker and eat it, but you'd be losing all that sweet moose blunt cashmere money. You know? This is the Millennial Book Club segment. Or this is just the Millennial Book Club. There's no books. There's no reading. It's just Netflix originals. Just watching fucking Netflix originals.
Just fucking watching Netflix.
Just fucking watching Netflix originals. Don't forget the original. This week, everybody was to watch The Ripper. The Ripper. Did you watch The Ripper?
Did I watch The Ripper?
Yeah, did you watch The Ripper?
We watched it together.
Oh, right.
I was a little too
Stony baloney.
Yes, a little too high.
Mm-hmm.
But I did get a lot from it still.
Did you? Check that out. And that's some new stuff right there.
Wow.
Yeah. There it is. Check it out. The Ripper. Let's read this. Oh no. We're having some technological differences. Investigators and witnesses recall the Yorkshire Ripper murders, which a cast and... Whoa. Sorry, babe. I'm learning to read for the first. Which cast a shadow over the north of England in the 1970s. No, because now it's over there.
Oh, it's not like a mirror. You can't
No.
see both. It's only one or the other.
Yeah, so I only put things up there that I want people to see. So, because if, we're making video too, so that if I put the video up there, it'll just be like one of those endless loops, like a mirror to mirror. And those weird bathrooms.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's about Jack the Ripper.
It's not about Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, I thought they said it was Jack the Ripper.
No.
Yeah,
Jack the Ripper's from the 1800s, babe.
That's what I thought too, but they kept referring to it.
Well, his name. So you were actually in the kitchen making food at the time when this happened, but so the way it's set up is you have the perspective of the cops, you have the perspective of the victims, and then you have the perspective of the media, which is a very interesting way, and it's everyone's little things that are going on. So obviously the media, the newspaper is like, we're trying to fucking move papers here.
So we're jumping right into our feelings about it. Okay.
What do you mean?
No, that was like one of the things I was going to say is like one of my favorite parts is the way that it's shot is completely different. Yeah. I feel like most docuseries about shit like this is not being filmed or presented in the way that this one is. Yeah,
this one was a bit different. I'm just saying, I'm explaining this to explain where the Ripper came from.
Mm-hmm.
So it's generally in the same area that Jack the Ripper was in, and the newspapers are trying to sell papers. So when the first murder happened, the newspaper guy, like the editor or whatever, he's like, we call it a fish and chips murder, which meant that it would be in the newspaper on Monday, and then on Tuesday, that newspaper would be used to wrap someone's fish and chips.
Right.
They just don't give a shit.
I remember
about it,
they said that, yeah.
So then once it became multiple murders, they're like, we gotta fucking, now it's like a serial killer, and people are getting scared, and we're gonna sell papers. So they used the name The Ripper because it's so close to the original Jack the Ripper, who was in the same area. His MO was very similar. He was killing prostitutes. He was fucking shanking them way too much
He was moving it around. That's what they said he did. The interesting thing about his stab wounds is that he would put it in there and then turn it and move it around and stuff like that.
You got to make sure it works. You can't just...
Yeah, but most people don't do that. They just...
Most people don't stab, babe.
Well, yeah, but like if they do, they're not putting it in and then moving it around a bunch.
Well, maybe that's where they're messing up.
I'm just telling you what the movie said. I don't want to do this thing where we start talking about the Millennial Book Club and I tell you everything that I think and then you're like, no, you're wrong. No, you're wrong.
I'm trying to make jokes and you're taking it way too seriously and that's on you.
Per usual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when you stick a knife in, I mean, anybody can survive a... But if you really want to make it
some
stick...
would argue.
If you want to make it stick, you gotta fucking twist the knife. There's a saying, you twist the knife.
They do say that.
What?
Twist the knife.
Oh, yeah, they do. And it's a saying. It's a real saying. I've heard it.
But most people don't do that, is what they were saying in the documentary.
Yeah, and it's because, so they have one of the main people that they keep going back to. I don't remember any of these people's names. He was a professor, a forensics scientist professor at the time, and I guess helped out a lot in with the murders. But he was saying, he's like, yeah, most people, in these crimes, it's like a crime of passion, which means it's the heat of the moment. You're like fucking super pissed off and you just stab somebody a couple times.
Yeah, that's what...
It's the deliberate, like you were saying.
That's what he was saying. I didn't remember if he said the whole crime of passion thing, but he said that is the indicator that this person is like really deeply disturbed, is the fact that he does that. Because I feel like in a crime of passion is more like, that's the difference between, premeditated murder and not first degree murder and second degree murder.
Yeah.
Is having that planning. And so those crimes of passion are not premeditated murders. That's a second degree murder.
Yeah.
Not that I would know anything.
Not that I would know anything exactly about these murders.
No, but that's what I thought was really cool. I like that he said that. I like the way that they display it a lot because I'm usually not a big film or fan of British film. Like I don't. Yeah. I like India. There's some Indian movies I've seen that I like. It's not like I just like
Train Spotting
American
or some shit.
Whites or American Blacks.
Yeah.
But I usually don't get very into British humor or even some of...
Sorry. It's not that I don't get into British humor. I just slightly read a comment, and I'll go back to it in a second. But I want to hear what you have to say first.
Do you?
Yeah. It's not like you get into the British humor.
Yeah, I don't really like... I usually... There's British comedy, or even if there's some sort of drama series about murder or something, I'll try really, really hard. And it's weird because you just think that we're American, they're also white, so they're just like us. And then every time I watch film, I'm like, wow, our cultures are vastly different. You know what I mean? It's like the way it's portrayed is just, it just feels foreign. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't really like it usually. But I really liked this one. I feel like they took all of the new age technology. Like when you watch docuseries about murders now, they're like forensics this, and they're going back and forth of... They don't show people these old clips of videos where these guys are like standing side by side and like combing the grass in their fucking penis hats and shit. You know what I mean?
I've got
like,
one of those here in the house. Like a real one. From like a real English man.
From a real murder?
Well, yeah, to murder the cop. Take it.
But I really liked that.
Yeah, there was one clip where they were doing that. They were all, lined up in a field where the murder happened, and that's how they combed the field to like check for evidence. And there was one guy that was just like fucking looking around. I'm like,
right, not doing shit.
Jesus, like, do they even give a shit?
But it just felt so much more grounded and realistic, and like what you would almost consider old school, even though I'm sure it's just the way it is, where like the way they were explaining the thought process of looking for this person or putting things together just felt so much more realistic. Yeah. As opposed to like watching fucking CSI or something.
Well, yeah.
But even in some of those docuseries, you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm wording it right, but you know what I mean? Like everything seems so technological or quick, and nobody's talking about like their thought process of how what they're thinking as all this shit unfolds.
Well, I mean, it also, these murders also happened in the 70s, and forensic science, even right now, is still like, there's a lot of people who are like, there's so many holes, it's so loose, it's not a science, it's not held to the same like, to even call it science, like a lot of people would say it's like calling a turd chocolate.
Well,
but it's because it's not held to the same peer-reviewed standards.
Yeah.
There's no like experimentation. It's just like blood splatter is just a bunch of guys trying to like it's really kind of weird and messed up. But so back in the 70s, like it was even, and also profiling, which was something that started, I believe it was like in the 50s with the FBI. Like there was like a group, like there was like one guy basically who had like a department. It was just like him and a couple other guys, and they're the ones that they're like the fathers of profiling. So it's like still really early and like really developing. So it is like it's much more like detective work.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it. I feel like anything you watch now doesn't show that. They're more like I mean, I guess it's different. They're like digging into the past of the criminal, or it's not portrayed in this way where like I feel like they were really highlighting these detectives' thought process and like why they were thinking the things they were, what they were going to do, and it just felt so much more grounded and real.
It seemed also like it was a lot of, I'm going to be honest, it was very slow for me, and it, probably because I'll tell you what, I was stony baloney.
Me too.
And I think it was a little too slow because there was times where I wasn't daydreaming, but I was so high, I was feeling things more. So when they like, it would show somebody and they're like, that was the time I realized that I was never going to see my mom again. And I'd start thinking about that.
Yeah, me
I'm
too,
like,
yeah.
And then like 10 minutes later, I'm thinking about my mom like dying. And it's like,
right. And it was one of those things where you're like, when you go to turn it on, I feel like whatever you and I were doing before was not like, ooh, I'm going to watch a murder docuseries.
We were cleaning.
Yeah, but it was like, I don't know, we were like having fun and doing shit. And then to make that major shift.
It was like, a left turn in mood for sure.
It really was.
We were like, ha, 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 ha. And then it was like, hey, this guy fucking twisted the knife. And you're like,
right. And those girls getting all mad that they're calling them prostitutes and stuff.
What are they then?
Well, I thought she was like saying that she was getting mad because they were calling them that or saying that or like kind of assuming or just like paint this picture to get people to read the news. And also I thought she was kind of saying like it was a problem with the way that they were profiling.
Right.
To be like prostitutes, he hates prostitutes. So nobody cared about anything because it displayed them as like second class citizens until it was a 16-year-old girl.
Right.
Which isn't fair because everybody loves whores.
Everybody loves whores. Even if they say they don't.
They do.
They do. It felt to me like, because there's 3, we only watched the first one.
Right.
But it felt like to me in this first one, the cops, especially the one guy, with the fucking green yellow teeth.
Which one?
Yeah, I know. Like the bald guy that was like mostly pink looking. He was
Which
like
one? I feel like
he was a heavy bald guy. He was wearing a sweater vest. Mm-hmm. He's like he's on there the most. He was the first one introduced. He was on there. All right, cool. Geez, you don't make this easy. But it was really like they were setting up the excuse. Like the whole first one was like, it felt like it was the cop's point of view was just explaining all the shortcomings. And it was like when somebody loses some football game. They're like, the sun was in my eyes and I didn't have the right breakfast that morning. And, my coach is yelling at me. It's like making fucking excuses. That's what the whole thing was. Like, yeah, well, the cops were all divided. We didn't really know who was who. And, these cops had a lot of money. I was a part of those cops, but, nobody knew where the money was coming from.
Right.
Which that bit of information also coupled with that lady that you were talking about, I feel like as we go into the next one, there's going to be this conspiracy sort of painted that the cops in a way had like some hand in it.
Or fucked it up? Or you mean like are a part of it?
Almost a part of it in a way. Or at least a part of like whether it's molding the story to like...
Excuse me.
Nice.
Thank you.
A way of molding the story to like really not only curb crime but like put down prostitutes. Honestly, with the cops in that one area having all that money, they were probably like handling a prostitute ring. Like they were probably like being paid off or having some kind of handout. I mean, why'd that one cop have the diary to one of the fucking, with all her contacts and shit in it? Like, and then that's like, and then the way that lady starts explaining it, she's like explaining how they were being perceived. Of course, the most, that all sounds very plausible, but then you're like, so then there's got to be a serial killer on the force they're like, okay, so who's going to go kill a broad right now? And this guy's like, I'm going to go fucking kill him.
Thinking that at all.
And I think we're gonna find ourselves a Candace. I don't think it's gonna be directly in line with that, but I think into the second episode it's going to be some sort of conspiratorial thing. And what really sort of just solidified it for me, if you want to, where's my mouth? The first review, audience review, it was totally ruined by misinformed and very ungrateful feminists.
I liked that lady.
The man hating was palpable with some of the amateur interviewees. Was I watching a serial killer doc or just a bunch of bitter, middle-aged, overweight women denigrating the police? So that's...
Sounds like he really hates prostitutes.
I know, it sounds like he's like, they fucking had it coming.
Well, that's, I mean, I don't think it was like super feminist. I just felt like she was bringing into light where everybody's talking down about it or nobody really gives a fuck because they think all these women are prostitutes and just like, fuck you. There's nothing that you guys are doing like slaying a bunch of puss and everyone's like, who cares that he died? All he does is beat it up. Like,
right. I mean, I think
wow.
Yeah, that's I'm not going to read it, but this guy really had a lot to say.
There's a lot of 1 stars.
Mm-hmm. 1 star. Well, I think this is Google. Let's see. The Google reviews.
Wow.
It's very heavy on either side. As you can see.
You're either going to like it or hate it.
Love it or hate it. IMDb had a 7.1 out of 10, which is not bad. There's no, what's it called on there? What is it called? I don't recall. Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Maters is not on there. But, I mean, I'm interested to see where it goes because, the first one is so much scene setting. Always it's the setting the scene of, it's just a bunch of prostitute murders that nobody gives a shit. And it has nothing to do with even being in England. I mean, prostitute murders, people generally...
Murder.
Oh, yeah, but... People generally don't. Of course, I mean, it's the easy thing to kill. People generally don't really give a shit in any country when prostitutes die. I think. When one prostitute dies or is found murdered, outside of like the family of that prostitute, obviously, but like if you see it in the paper, it's like.
I get why that woman's so pissed about that because that's right. Bullshit. Because I don't feel that way.
I'm not saying I'm that way. I'm just saying the general public.
Yeah.
Think about the general public. They see. Some dumb stupid slut gets whacked, or some nice little 16-year-old who was just walking home from school gets whacked. Like one of them you feel more like because people feel generally like they put themselves into that world that they're not supposed to be in that world. They kind of had it. That's what you play with fire. You're gonna get fucking stabbed and twisted. You know what I mean? Not saying it's right. Not saying I think that. But so they're setting the scene of, all these murders and who cares? Another third one dead. Who gives a shit, right? And then it's that little girl. And then now everything's shifted. But it does seem like the news and how they're portraying it is like, first it's like, don't be a prostitute. Prostitutes are getting killed. And then it's like, don't even look like a prostitute. Don't even be walking around alone. Don't even be, because guess what? It can happen. You got tits? You got tits on your chest? He's fucking coming for you. You're next.
I would have been sliced and slaughtered.
Yep. You would have been dead first. And not just because you're a prostitute.
I was going to say, not just because I have big tits, because I'm a total whore.
Total whore. You can, that joke can go 2 ways. One for each tit. What would you... So our rating system. Mm-hmm. I want to say the rating system because if this is kind of a test run, obviously, for... the video aspect. This is our first time ever videoing anything. It's so I would I just want to kind of reiterate our rating system. It's binge it. Just fucking don't stop till it's done.
Binge it. Mm-hmm.
Binge it. Makes sense. The second one is watch it if it's there. You're at a friend's house. Mm-hmm. Someone's like, hey, I'm gonna put this on. Do you want to watch it? You're like, yeah, sure, it's fucking there. I'll watch it. Right. Or 3, fucking spare yourself.
Yes.
Go ride a bike. Go read a book. Go bash your thumbs with a hammer. Do anything else besides this.
I'm really glad that you went into detail to explain what those all mean.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you never know. People might need an explanation.
Gazpacho soup.
It's a soup. That's cold. So where are you rating it?
if you like true crime, I would say must watch. I mean, only one episode in, I will absolutely keep watching it. Even if there were 8 episodes, I would watch all of them.
Cool.
I just like how different it's portrayed. It's a different story. I think it makes it very gripping. It doesn't show this. I feel like it's the process of solving a murder or whatever's happening. It just like makes it feel like these detectives and these journalists and these people are just real fucking people. And here's what they were thinking. This is why this was happening. And I feel like that's kind of lost in it all now. You know what I mean? Like when you watch those, they're not talking about that. Like if you watch Grey's Anatomy, they're not talking about why they chose the surgery and why they think this is going to be the best thing. You know, it's just like, so we're slashing them open now. So I really like that part of it. So I would say must watch.
Yeah, you're right. It is different. I mean, with so many docuseries, that is very dramatized in that way, where they're not showing, you know, the more. It's not gritty. It's just like the more realism of it.
Yeah,
like, it's almost like you never get to hear a cop go, "We didn't know what the fuck was going on. We didn't know what the fuck to do." I'm gonna be honest with you. I was too busy doing blow and playing pool because I was one of those rich cops.
And fucking whores.
Fucking whores. So, but once it started hitting close to home, I got out my whore's book and I started flipping through it. Just, I think whatever it's setting up, there's going to be a bit of a Kansas City shuffle going into the second one.
We'll see.
I really feel that. So
you love to predict the end of everything, so. I don't
want to put a tack in it. I don't
no,
want to
but
say
like you're good at that. Like
I
never do that. I never like predict what's going to happen. My mom does that. We've talked about that before.
I can't
and
not.
Do
it's
it.
just like what my mind is constantly doing.
Yeah,
I
don't do that.
I mean, it's my favorite aspect of like watching a lot of stuff. So here's what I think we should do. Okay. So we do have next week's Millennial Book Club lined up. Also, guys,
you've chosen.
Yeah. Also, guys, what are you thinking? And I'll tell you why I chose this. What do you think of the Millennial Book Club this week? The Ripper. Did you watch it? Do you have a long meandering thing you want to write up like that guy's comment? Send it to roadsodamail@gmail.com.
Write it in. Phone it in.
Phone it in. Write it in. When you write them in, I can put it up on this high-tech TV screen.
So everyone can follow along.
Because I'm a bad reader.
I don't think that's...
I'm no good reader.
That'd be really small.
Well, still, it's just a visual thing. No one's really going to be looking at it. I mean, I can just put a picture of a wiener up there.
Send in a selfie.
A selfie.
With your review.
Yeah, so we can look at your face. And if there's boobs, if you have boobs on your chest, put them in the picture.
Send a picture of your tits for sure.
Thank you.
100%.
Proved. My girlfriend approved it. Send it to roadsodamail@gmail.com, or you can call and leave a message on our answering machine, 706-200-1213. Leave a message. 13. There is it's a 2-minute message you can leave, and we'll play it right here on the air. So here's what we'll do. Next week's Millennial Book Club is something else, but let's, at the beginning of next week's Millennial Book Club, just touch base with The Ripper.
Right, not like a full part 2, but just like kind of a follow-up.
Just a follow-up.
And then I was thinking maybe after that, you could choose a Millennial Book Club again.
Again? Yeah, I choose all of them. You stop to whining what you're doing right now. You're whining because you couldn't pick if The Ripper was in here about to rip you. He'd be like, choose a Millennial Book Club. And you're like,
I gave 2 other options.
Yeah, well, you picked some things, and then I told you, I said, which one would you pick if I wasn't here? And you said, I don't know.
I'd watch all of them, and then the one that you're about to choose, I was like, well, this one's going to be like this, and then I was going to keep going, and then we're like, here's what I'll tell you what we're going to do. And that means that you chose
You didn't say any of that. You said, here are the ones I want to watch. I said, which one would you pick if I wasn't here? Just going to watch them. I think you said, I don't know. And that was it.
Yeah, I said, I don't know. I want to watch all of them.
Right. But then that was it. You didn't.
No, I said, and then if we watch this one, I feel like it's going to be more funny. There's not like a lot of more substance to talk about other than like, look what that guy did. Look what that guy did.
I think there's going to be substance in this one. Here's what we're doing, guys. Anyway, we're going to touch base and we're going to do this one because if we're touching base, we don't want a big extravagant kind of thing. So right now we're going to be finishing The Ripper, and then we just have like 30-minute episodes to watch, like something light and fun that we don't have to like sink ourselves into.
You're right.
Or let's watch this long fucking movie with George Clooney that we probably won't finish, and we'll come in next week and go, oh, we didn't finish that one either. Oh shit. Also, I didn't really pay attention because I was too stoned. This one, we could be stoned. They probably want you to be stoned. There's probably a competition in here where you got to be stoned. We Are the Champions. Explore an array of unique competitions from the quirky to the bizarre and meet their passionate communities in this docu-series.
What's that lady the champion of?
Fucking hair. But that looks like bananas.
Yeah, what is that?
That's the Chiquita fucking
Can we
banana.
look at some of the
So yeah, let's actually
preview some of the options?
Yeah, I wanted to actually I think because I'm not signed in, I can't actually see the episodes.
Lame. Do you want me to tell you what they are?
Yeah. Oh wait, no, here we go. I just need to go down far enough. So we have cheese rolling, chili eating, fantasy hairstyling.
That's the one.
Frog jumping, dog dancing, yo-yo. So we're watching fantasy hairstyling and dog dancing.
No, definitely cheese.
Okay,
cheese rolling. I want to
Okay.
watch chili eating for sure.
So the first
I want to
three?
see people get like really into eating chili. I mean, I feel like we could watch them all, especially because we have a hard time watching things because we're so busy. And then when it like comes down to the end of the night, we can really easily watch a quick 30-minute thing as opposed to like
You're right.
hour-long episodes.
Exactly. Oh, now look who's fucking listening. Now who thinks
It's your
a good
world. I
idea?
just live in it. Road Soda with Isaiah and Greg. I'm Greg.
I'm Isaiah. Greg, you have great tits. Thank you. Greg's tits look great. All right, everybody. Be sure to watch. What was it called again?
The Champions.
Be sure to watch The Champions.
We are the champions. The champions. Something
I
like
think
that.
it is We Are the Champions. Do you think they're going to play that? Do you
And
think they're going to play that
stay
shitty
tuned
song?
to find out what Isaiah's choice for the Millennial Book Club will be next week.
Yeah, stay tuned for next week. We Are the Champions on Netflix. You can write in also about that. roadsodamail@gmail.com or call in 706-200-1213 and either stuff about that or the Ripper. What'd you think? How'd you feel? What did you rate it? How did you rate on that? Cool.